Okay, so what we're going to do now is take a look at how to adjust the bone rolls for all the bones on the fingers and all the bones in the palm area, and of course all the bones for the thumb. Now, the thing to keep in mind about this process is that first we have to establish the overall picture or the idea behind the bone rolls when it comes to a complex object like this. Once we've established the bone rolls, we're then going to go back to these individual bones and move their positions and then readjust the bone rolls. So the fingers, the thumb, and the palm deform correctly. So the first thing that I want you to do is go under File, do Save As, and save this as a Rigging Lesson 02 C.blend. So the first thing to do is actually adjust these palm bones. Do the middle mouse button first. Go ahead and click on the head of all the palm bones, press the Shift key down, and do Control 1 so you can actually see this from behind. Zoom in, Shift middle mouse button to pan. Click on this blue arrow, and for now just bring this up kind of like this over here. We can adjust this later. Now go ahead and rotate this like this. Go ahead and click on this bone, press the Shift key down, this one, and this one. Now what we're going to do is press Shift H to hide all the bones. Go ahead and switch to pose mode and then do Shift H again. So here you can see that the Z axis is pointing up, so we just need the Z axis to point down. So here, go ahead and switch to edit mode. Now, in order to do this correctly, what we need to do is actually look at the hand from this view over here, from the right view. Look at it like you're looking at it like this. Now, notice that the way I've done this, it's not like this. See how the Z-axis is pointing a little to the left? I've done it like this over here, so the Z-axis basically points vertical. It makes it easier to do it this way. Now all we have to do is Control R and simply rotate so all the Z-axis basically average out and point downwards like this, okay? Kind of like this over here. And that's fine. Later on we'll come in and adjust these bone rolls. But the overall picture is there. Meaning that now when we switch to pose mode, and let's say click on this, press the R key, press the X key 2 times, we are rotating around the X-axis. And the Z-axis is pointing down because that's the major movement. So it's going to be true for all these bones. Now here what I'm going to do is go to edit mode and just show you that these are the bone rolls that I've set for all these bones over here. Okay. Again, don't get caught up in this concept of the numbers trying to match exactly what I have. Just note that it's pointing down. Now what we're going to do is Alt H to bring everybody back over here. Go to pose mode, do Alt H to bring everybody back, press the A key to deselect everything. Now what we need to do is adjust the bone rolls for these fingers. Now I'm going to explain something to you here, okay? Go to edit mode. Go ahead and click on this bone, press the Shift key down, this one and this one. Now notice that if we do Shift H, it's going to hide all the bones, but notice what happens. It deselects this bone. Do Control Z to bring this back. Now if we click on this bone, you'll notice that here on the bone tab it has this connected check. So if we deselect the connected, meaning that it's still the child of this bone over here, it's just offset. Now if you press the Shift key down, click on this one, click on this one, do Shift H, you'll notice that it doesn't deselect it. Okay? So now do Control Z to bring this back, or you can do Alt H. Do A to deselect. Go ahead and click on this and click on connected. So what this tells you is that if you want to select all these bones over here, right, if we press the Shift key down and click on all these bones to select them, if we do Shift H, it's going to deselect all these bones, meaning that we have to go back and select them again. Do Control Z to undo this. Now, if we switch to pose mode and then do Shift H, you'll notice that the bones are selected over here. If we switch to edit mode, you'll notice that it doesn't hide the bones over here, so we have to do Shift H. But here again, it simply deselects them. So this means that we have to press the Shift key down and select all these bones again. So just be aware of this concept. Anyways, we're going to do the same thing over here. Now, in order to do this correctly, what I want you to do is basically do the same thing and just adjust it like this so you're looking at the hand. Okay, go ahead and zoom in. Now what we want to do is take a look at this finger here first. So here all I'm going to do is just look at it straight on like this, okay, kind of like this. Now you can see that the z-axis need to basically point down. So here I'm just going to do Control R and just adjust it so it's positioned like this. Okay, I'm looking over here. Now what we can do is just do the middle mouse button, press the C key, and do the middle mouse button to deselect, right click to get out. Do the same thing for this finger. Okay, I'm going to look at this finger and basically adjust it like this. So I know that the z-axis needs to point down, just do Control R, and here we can just adjust it kind of like this over here. Now it's pointing down, do the same thing. Middle mouse button to rotate, press the Shift key down, middle mouse button to deselect, right click to get out of it. Let's take a look at this finger over here, just adjust it. So you can see basically the idea that the z-axis needs to point kind of like this. Do Control R. Just going to rotate it kind of like this over here. Just move it down, press the C key, do the middle mouse button to deselect, right click to get out of it. Now take a look at this finger over here, adjust it like this. I note that the vertically z-axis should be here, to do Control R and adjust it kind of like this over here. And that's it, A to deselect. Now we've basically got the overall picture of the bone rolls established. Of course, the reason we did this is because now if you switch to pose mode, look on this bone, let's say press the R key, press the X key 2 times, we're rotating around the X axis. Of course, these bones still have to be adjusted so they bend correctly, but you get the idea here. Now just do Alt H to bring everybody back, A to deselect. Switch to edit mode, do Alt H to bring everybody back, A to deselect. Now we need to take a look at these bones over here for the thumb, select them, do Shift H. Notice because it doesn't have the connected, it'll just have this bone selected. Go ahead and do pose, do Shift 8 to hide them. Now, the thing about the thumb here is that because we want this figure to be compatible with Unity, we're going to first look at this thumb in this way so we can look at head on. Okay, basically what I'm doing is making sure that this line over here for the nail is, I can see that if I draw a line straight down, I can see where the z-axis needs to be. Okay, so here what we're going to do is, now when we have this, we're going to just adjust it so we can see it like this. Okay, we're going to of course adjust this later. Now, the thing about this is that when it comes to Unity, the z-axis actually needs to point down, just like the fingers. So if we do Control R and rotate this like this, this is not correct. We actually have to do it this way, kind of like a V shape. Okay. Now you'll notice why we did this. If we press the 3 key and press the 1 key, you'll notice that how the z-axis is basically pointing down like this. It's basically doing what these fingers were. If you do Alt H to bring anybody back, you'll notice that the z-axis is pointing down. This is a requirement for Unity if you want to use their mechanism system. Okay, now because we want this to work in Blender and Unity, we're going to have to do it this way. So basically the idea here is that when you look at this thumb like this, okay, I'm going to actually click on this bone. Click on this bone, press the Shift key down, and do Shift 8 to hide everybody. The idea here is that when you look at your thumb like this, okay, it just needs to be a V shape like this, because you know that this is going to basically, the average concept here is to just point it down, meaning that if you press the 3 key and rotate it like this, see how it's pointing down? That's all this is. Anyways, that's how you adjust these bones over here. You'll see how this is going to work a little later, but this is a requirement. So we can do this is because later on with the non-deformed bones, we can make it work correctly. This basically means that if you go to pose mode and click over here, if you press the R key, press the X key, it's not going to rotate correctly, right? You would have to press the R key 2 times to adjust this thumb. Okay, so we're going to fix that later with the non-deformed bones, but this is how it needs to be if you want it to work in Reunity. We're going to do Alt H to bring this back. Go ahead and switch to edit mode over here. Do Alt H to bring this back. A to D select over here. And now all the bone rolls are going to be established. Now here I'm just going to show you that if I click this, remember these bone roll numbers actually don't matter right now. I'll just click them so you can see, because we're going to be adjusting them again. So you can just pause the video to look at these numbers if you're interested in what these numbers say. Okay, anyways, we've got that established. Now what we want to do, you can notice that in edit mode we have the x-axis mirror enabled. So of course we're just going to click over here, and if we go under select, go to similar, we can select by suffix. It's going to select all the bones on the left side. Now to make sure that all the bones are going to be adjusted correctly on the right side without moving your mouse, press the G key and press the enter key, and that's it. A to D select. Now all the bone rolls will also match on the other side. So go ahead and press the 1 key, do Shift C, do Control middle mouse button and zoom in, and go ahead and save your file. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.